Alright, I'm not too sure how to start this video, but I've dabbled in audio for quite a bit now, and the main thing that's been lacking from my experience is I've basically only used IEMs up until this point. I've used them about 6 years now. This is basically my first pair of decent IEMs, KZ-ZS10 Pro or Pro X. These are pretty bad, to be honest. They have way too much treble here, and there is a lot of bass, but because the treble is so high, it feels really tinny, even though it has so much bass. And my next pair was the Truthear Hexas, and these IEMs are actually pretty great. I still use them to this day, mostly when I'm out and about and stuff. But yeah, these are like my backup IEMs now. And my main IEMs are the Moondrop Dusk. These are the best sounding audio equipment I have, but I find them less comfortable than the Hexas. But they do sound a lot better in my opinion. The bass has way more detail in it. I think treble is about the same as a Hexa. They are both pretty detailed, but definitely the Hexas have more vocal clarity than the Dusk, which makes sense because the Dusk has so much more bass compared to the Hexas. But I never had proper studio headphones. Yeah, well, these are the HD600s by Sennheiser. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to it. It's just a headphone. The main question I want to answer today is, what are the main differences between IEMs and over-ear headphones? The main reason why I stayed away from the HD600s or any headphones is because I heard they get hot, especially like during like hotter climates, or especially where I live, it gets pretty hot here. And generally, I've heard that especially open back headphones have less bass in them, but I don't know. Maybe they won't be that bad because I actually don't mind the sound of the Hexas, and they don't have that much bass. But I'm pretty sure these do have more bass than the HD600s. But yeah, anyways, I'll do a first impression, and then after that, I'll update you guys in about a week or so. And just as clarification, I have my own music streaming service essentially, which is streaming from my laptop over there, which is my music server. Yeah, everything is in 16 bits, 44.1 kilohertz, so basically lossless. There's a little bit, you can get a little bit more detail after that, but basically they are CD quality, which is good enough for most people. And my source is the Moondrop Dawn Pro, which I think has around like a 230 milliwatt of power. So they should be enough for this headphone. I'm wearing the headphone now, and reviews online say that clamp force is a big problem, especially when the headphone's new and it hasn't been broken in yet. And I definitely feel a little bit of clamp force, but at least for now it's not too bad. Maybe in like 30 minutes it will get worse, or it'll get more fatiguing. But at least for now it's definitely manageable. I do need to find a place to tuck the cables though. This is kind of all over my desk here. But let me just give it a listen here. Okay, I've kind of skipped through all of my test tracks. It's pretty interesting. This video isn't really about the sound qualities of the HD600 versus my IEMs. It's mostly like the convenience factors and whatnot. But I do want to talk about the sound a little bit. If you look at the FR graphs, I just realized one of them is the IEMs are on the BMK5128, and the HD600 is on the HD600. Jesus, is on the Grass 43. So they're not measured on the same rig, but even then, you can see the bass on the HD600 goes way down compared to the IEMs, which have even on the Hexa, which is a green line. Even that has a pretty significant bass bump compared to the HDs. Even then, I was really expecting to have to do a bass bump on my EQ software, but again, you can see my equalizer was off, and it definitely isn't as tight. The bass isn't as tight as my Hexas, but that is kind of to be expected. The Hexas, especially when it first launched, was kind of known as one of the best bass you can get in an IEM. Okay, so it's about 2 weeks later now, and I think I've spent enough time with these headphones to make a good conclusion on how I feel about them. And where do we start? So I guess we started with like general like usability of the headphones. So the two things I noticed about just open backs in general, because again I've never really used open backs before. Obviously it makes sense, right? When you put on open backs, like the whole point is that they don't block out anything. But when I'm typing, yeah, I'm just like not used to hearing myself type, so it was kind of jarring at first, but that's pretty easy to get used to. I would say overall though, having open backs is a benefit because now when somebody calls me, I can actually hear them, like in my house. Before they had to knock on my door pretty hard with these IEMs in. Uh, but yeah, I would say open backs is actually a pretty nice thing to have. Obviously, that depends on your situation. If you're like in a loud office where if your house is just kind of loud, there's like bit construction where like you live next to a busy road, that would be pretty annoying. And I do notice when the AC is on, and even when my fan's on low, they do kind of get annoying over time. Yeah, I would say it's not that bad though, especially if a fan is on low. Like I'll turn my fan on now and my noise suppression is off. You should be able to hear it in the background. That's basically what I hear. And so yeah, when I have music playing, it's not too bad with open backs. The second thing is just for glasses wearers. You can see that my glasses, the arm here is like relatively thick. And one, it's kind of hard to put on my glasses. Like I just did it now with my headphones on. It's not impossible, but you guess there's a bit of a learning curve. But I guess there's learning curves of putting on IEMs as well. And the second thing is because the arms on my glasses are kind of thick. They doesn't matter too much for the sound because again these are open backs. They don't need a good seal to make a good sound, but when they rub against my like temple, yeah, because the arms right here touches my temple essentially, and then like as I said earlier, the HD600s have pretty heavy clamp force. So the fact that these are already pretty clampy headphones, plus the fact that my glasses, they go right over my temple, it does get annoying over time. I would say comfort with the HD600s is drastically decreased if you are a glasses wearer, especially if the arms on your glasses are kind of thick. But if I take my glasses off, the comfort is actually pretty good, especially now in 2 weeks in. I've bent the metals out and I've just worn it for quite a couple hours. I would say without glasses, or actually even with glasses, I can wear them for hours at a time. It's just after a few hours, which I probably shouldn't be listening for these for that long anyways. After a few hours, it does kind of, pressure does build up. Again, where I said my glasses touch my temple. But comfort overall, if I had to rate them compared to my IEMs, I would actually put these over my IEMs because not only do IEMs, one, they have to go inside of your pinna or like the kana area, like the basically like where your eardrum entrance is on your ears. They have to stick inside the hole. After a few hours, especially if you're moving around outside, they can kind of get irritating. As I said in the first part of this video, the Hexas fit me really well, but the Dusk do not. These do irritate me over time. So that's pretty much all I had for the comfort. I'll get more into it later when I tell you guys what I actually think about my setup now. But for the sound, again, on frequency response graphs, the HD600s, they roll off really hard, which is weird to me because when I first put these on, I actually noticed them being sort of warm compared to my Hexas and even my Dusk. I know these two IEMs are like kind of new meta tuning where they kind of have elevated treble. But yeah, compared to my IEMs, the HD600s are actually pretty warm. As I kind of predicted, the lack of bass on FR graphs, they don't bother me that much. They don't bother me at all. Now, my initial impressions still stand true though. The Hexas do have more detailed bass than the HD600s, but I definitely don't notice myself missing it at all. Oh yeah, for EQ, I guess I can pull it up here. This is essentially, if anyone's a Windows, I think Mac user too, this is basically Equalizer APO with the peace interface, but for Linux, it's the same thing. So, as you guys can see here, there is a huge 8.1 kilohertz dip for me. It's nearly 15 decibels. Let me see if I can zoom in here. That's too much. Yeah, nearly 15 decibel dip here, so I had to boost that way up. I've talked to some people online, and even on frequency response graphs, there's a little bit of a dip here, at least on some people's measurements. I've never seen anyone have this much of a dip. Again, it's not my hearing, I don't think, because when I use my IEMs and I do, oh yeah, I guess I should probably talk about how I even do my EQ. So I go to this website, or I guess any works, just a random tone generator, and click play. Make sure to not have the volume too high because you can't damage your hearing. But yeah, click play and then sweep through the frequency. And when I get to about 8.1 kilohertz, it almost becomes like silent. And again, that only happens on the HDs. It doesn't happen on any of my IEMs. I tried them all. So that is really weird. I don't really know what is up with that, but again, with EQ, before the EQ, definitely without with this huge dip here, timbre, I would still say it's like usable. I would honestly put them on par with the Dusk and then slightly behind the Hexas. But after EQ, they kind of sound phenomenal. I haven't really heard anything quite like that. But again, I've never really used that many hi-fi equipment before, other than, my IEMs. But yeah, I wouldn't say this is normal though, because out of all the people I've talked to that owns the HD600s, some of them say there's a couple dips, and I've mostly heard, if anything, that there's a couple humps around the 6.5 to 7 kilohertz range. And as you can see here, I do get that too. I had to bump 7 kilohertz down by 6 decibels. But yeah, with this EQ, which all I did was go through the tone generator, every time I heard something get louder, I bumped that down, and every time something is quieter, I bump it up. It's actually pretty effective. It took me like 10 minutes. And yeah, this is the EQ that I got out of it, and it sounds kind of incredible now. But I think that is pretty much it for the sound. And as for my conclusion, if I had to pick one of these, my Hexas, my Dusk, or my HD600s, I would probably pick the Dusk. Why? Because sometimes I go outside, which is unfortunate because it's really hot all at the time here. But when I go outside, I don't want to wear open backs, and even if these were closed backs. Oh, I did have one more thing to mention: heat. So they weren't really a problem most of the times, but even if it was like on the edge of comfortability. If I got slightly heated, like if I was playing like a competitive game and I was getting kind of sweaty, these would honestly get a little bit overbearing. But 99% of the time, if I'm just listening to music, if I'm just watching a movie, or just playing casual games, these are fine. I don't have any real complaints about them. But yeah, IEMs are just cooler. So one, they're cooler. Two, I can just kind of stuff them in my pocket, and I don't have to worry about anything getting really damaged. But if I can choose two of these, if I had to start over and had my ideal setup, I would choose the Hexas because I feel these are more comfortable. I would choose these for on the go, and then I would choose the HD600s for being at home. So now it's kind of awkward because I don't know what to do with my technically most expensive set of audio equipment. These were $400, and I didn't pay that much for these. I got a pretty good deal. These were $400. These were, I think they go for $90 now, and then these are like $300. So it's kind of awkward that I don't know what to do with my most expensive set of audio equipment. But yeah, that's what I would just get rid of these and just use these two. And I think that is pretty much it. I don't really do audio stuff that often, as you guys can probably tell. I don't really have like a huge desk amp or anything like crazy like that. But yeah, and I did have one I guess fun fact you can say. Somehow, hold on. Somehow, this phone is from 2014. I don't really know how to show it to you guys, but you might actually even be able to hear it. It's playable, like it's 100%. Like there's not really much distortion that I can hear, and I mean I don't even know how to like. This is just so shocking to me that I just kind of had to show it. Not that I recommend anyone use HD600s on a phone from over 10 years ago, but I guess if I really wanted to, I could use these as my own headphones now. I could just bring this out and then use my phone to power it. But again, they're still open backs. They're gonna leak a bunch of sound in, and I do have to crank the volume all the way up. And I noticed the phone getting kind of warm because of how much power it's pushing. So it's not ideal, but for anyone that's looking at these headphones specifically, the HD600 or 650 or any of those Sennheiser 6 series. Yeah, power is like not an issue. Like I can draw it, I can power it from like nothing basically. So yeah, I think Dawn Pro is definitely, even this is overkill, and anything over that, like any crazy desk amps that can push like watts of power, you don't need all that for these headphones specifically, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. This is probably gonna be one of my last videos for quite a while, at least for a month, because I am quite busy. But I have more videos planned, more about like just general computer stuff, not really audio. But I just wanted to share my experience here. I've never really seen anyone do a comparison with IEMs and headphones, recently at least. But the videos I've seen are all from like the old meta tuning, like the Harman tuning and stuff from IEMs. And I feel like those IEMs just really haven't aged all that well. Again, I don't know where they went, but the KZs from the beginning of this video, I know that's a pretty bad example, but it was basically Harman tuned with a little bit of treble, and then were actually a lot of extra treble and then a little bit of extra bass. Yeah, those IEMs just haven't aged that well. I think if you're comparing headphones to new meta tuning, or like JM1 diffuse field tuning, these are kind of diffuse field-ish, but yeah, with EQ you can get them there. These are pretty close. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.